What I'm going to go through here in this video is how to package a set of purchase order lines into a purchase order. And so we're going to go to Acquisitions and Package. This is going to pull up a list of the purchase order lines that are available to package. And you'll notice that all of these say manual packaging. What we're going to do is click on the Select All button, and you'll notice I have 25 lines to package, and the screen only displays 20 at a time. If you go to the second screen and you click on Select All, it's going to place a check mark for 21 through 25. Interestingly, if you go back to the first page, the items that you previously selected don't stay selected, so the settings don't stick. And what we're going to need to do is just do this a little bit at a time. We're going to select all on this page, so that's 1 through 20, and we're going to create a new PO. And it's going to add these 20 records to the purchase order. And you'll see at the bottom the total price of line items is $720.42. But when you look at the purchase order that I submitted through Gobi, the total was $913.83 because 5 of these titles are not selected. And so that right here would be your first clue that you didn't have all of the titles selected. So we're going to click on PO Line List, and we're going to click where it says Add PO Line, and we're going to add some more titles to this list. And these are the 5 that were on page 2, so I'm going to click Select All, and then we'll take a look at these. These say manual packaging, and there's 5 of them. So we're going to select all of these and click Select. And we're going to take a look at the total price again. So we're going to have to go to the summary page, and yep, we still see it says $720.42. And I believe that's because on the PO Line page we need to click Save. We don't want to click Save and Continue because that would place the purchase order into a status of sent, and we still want to make sure that this is correct. So we want to make sure the purchase order is in review, because as long as the purchase order is in review we can make changes to it. So for that reason you do not want to select Save and Continue yet. We're going to save, and then let's take a look at that purchase order that we were just working on. So we're going to go to Purchase Order Review, and we're going to just make sure that we have 25 items on it, and the total price should be $913.82. So let's look at our purchase order that we submitted to Gobi, and we see we've got 25 items, and the total price. Now the total price on the Gobi order is estimated net, and that's important because the price here that you see on the purchase order, when you get the invoice from YBP, it could be higher or lower than this price here, and that's why they say estimated US net 41.28. It could be higher or lower. But for our purposes right now, we just want to make sure that the total here, 913.83, is the same total that we see here. Now, we don't want to keep this purchase order number that Alma assigns it automatically. Alma assigns a number to it automatically, but we don't want to use that number. We want to use this number here, 18905. So we're going to click the ellipsis and click Edit, and we're going to change this number to the purchase order number that we gave it when we submitted the order through Gobi. Alright, so now that we have our number entered and we've made sure that the total PO cost matches, then we're going to click on Save and Continue. And that's going to create our purchase order. And you can see that it takes a while depending on how big your order is. It's going to put you on a blank page, and if you want to review the order to make sure it was what you wanted, you can enter the PO line number here. Oh, you can't enter the line here because this says purchase orders in review. What you'll want to do is go up to acquisitions and no, what you want to do is go to the menu option here and select order lines, and you can enter the PO line, the purchase order line here. So you'll have to enter order lines and PO reference number and put the purchase order number that you gave it. And so you'll see that now you have a purchase order line associated with a purchase order. For each of the purchase order lines, they're now associated with this new purchase order that we just created. The other thing that you'll notice is the PO status is now sent, and so we will not be able to add any more purchase order lines to this purchase order at this point. So unless you're sure that you're through with the purchase order, you'll want to leave it in review, and that's important. And here's the total cost. We have a report here, or I have a report on my desktop. It's actually a widget, and it is called Print Items Ordered Not Received. The titles that we just added are going to be on this report, and this report will update the next day. So when you're looking at this, you'll see, like, for example, this is one of the purchase order lines that we added. There is no PO number on this report yet because this report will be updated tomorrow. And when you look at this again tomorrow, then you'll see purchase order number 18905 next to all of these purchase order lines that they're associated with. And then when the items come in and they're received, then at the point where we close the invoice, then the status on this report is going to change to closed, and these items will be taken off this report because they're not active anymore. So this was the second step that you would take. The first step is you create the purchase order line. The second step is that you package the purchase order lines onto a PO. And then the third step that's going to happen is when the items come in from the vendor, then we're going to receive them, and we would go through the receiving and invoicing process, and that would be the third and the next step here is receiving and invoicing.